Hello, accounting students. This is your teacher Roy with a demonstration video of how to use the online Excel spreadsheets for homework assignments. So when you go to your McGraw-Hill Campus Connect site, we'll see a screen somewhat like this. I believe we've already talked about the Smart Book assignment. Here's our Chapter 1 homework problems, homework assignment, and eventually you'll take the quiz for the same chapter. But let's get into the homework. You can see the due date here, always a Sunday evening. And let's get started. This homework is worth 50 points. And we have 3 attempts to submit the whole homework assignment, again, by the due date. 3 attempts. We're on our first attempt. And within each one of these 3 attempts, you can use something called check my work. There's a button that will check the whole problem. There's going to be 2 problems in this assignment. Each time you want to check one problem. Make sure you fill out all that blanks for that one problem. And then use one time the check my work button. Then make any corrections and you can use it again. Make any corrections, you can use it one more time. But that's within this first attempt. When you submit the whole homework problem, you can check your work again to see what's wrong and then start your second attempt. Within your second attempt, now you're going to have 3 check my work attempts again and again on your last and third submission for homework. But let's move on and start the homework. For this homework for chapter 1, there's 2 problems. I want to demonstrate the second problem, which I think is harder. So all the narrative information is here at the top of the problem, but you're going to be doing your work in this online Excel spreadsheet. And the information above is going to be duplicated within this Excel spreadsheet, but it may be easier first to read it here on this screen. So let's do that. So we have Akron, and they're the investors who's buying an interest in Zip. Their first purchase of Zip stock happened back in 2022 when they bought a 5% interest, and this is the cost, $16,050. And then a year later, they bought another 25% interest. So total interest at this point would be 30% in Zip. That 25% interest cost $93,000. They were given information over the next 2 or 3 years. This is income, net income for Zip for 2 years, the dividends declared by Zip for 2 years, and the fair value of the stock. Sometimes they call this a company's capitalization, the total outstanding stock. What is it worth on the market? Yeah. And it looks like all these numbers are positive. They're going up as a trend. At December 31st, 2023, Zip reported a net book value. This is the equity section of the company's balance sheet, $298,000. Notice the difference between this book value and the fair value of the stock. Okay, so there's probably something undervalued in terms of the assets to make it worth the stock worth more. We're told that Akron attributed any excess of its 30% share of Zip's over fair over book value, fair value over book value. That's this 372 over 298. But remember, this is the whole company. Yeah? This is the whole company. We're looking at 30% interest of Akron's share. And that excess they paid is attributable to an undervalued asset of Zip. That's a franchise agreement. Again, this is an asset on Zip's books that Zip has that's undervalued on its balance sheet. And that's why Akron is willing to pay more than the book value. We're told that that excess, whatever the amount is that we need to calculate, has a remaining life of 10 years. So we're going to be amortizing that cost. Akron's going to be amortizing that cost over the next 10 years to reduce its share of income coming from Zip, attributable to Zip. Okay, so the things we need to figure out. Here we have a set A and set B. In A, Akron, and we're always taking the point of view of the investor. We're going to be using the equity method, the main method we're learning in chapter 1 to account for its investment in ZIP. If I jump to B, Akron this time is using the fair value method to account for its investment in ZIP. In both A and B, the questions are 1 and 2 are pretty much the same. In 1, we need to know the income Akron has to report for its investment in ZIP. And number 2, the um, on the balance sheet of Akron, what is the investment in ZIP assets going to be reported at? What's the dollar amount? Again, in A, we're using the equity method. In B, we're using the fair value method. Again, all of this information, even the questions, even the labels for our answer sheet, the spreadsheet, will be there for us. Okay, so important here to read instructions. We're told in number 1, use the Open Excel new tab, that's this button here, to launch this question. And then number 2, when we finish in Excel, use the save and return to assignment button. This is the assignment screen here, yeah? Eventually where we can use one of our 3 submission attempts here. If you need to stop, don't submit it. Just use the save and exit button. And when you restart the problem, you'll pick up where you left off. Okay, let's go ahead and click on this Open Excel button. You don't need to have Excel installed on your computer. This Excel screen, this Excel application is online. How convenient. Okay, we're loading it here. So important, answer grading policy. For an answer to be graded as correct, you must use an Excel formula. In other words, everything we enter here in this spreadsheet has to be a formula. And in Excel, formulas begin with the equal sign. Also, when we enter numbers, we have to use cell references where the numbers are located and not the actual value, not the actual number itself. So maybe there's a number 100 in cell B3, but we don't type in 100 in our formula. We type in the address where the number is located, yeah, cell B3. So if you type in a number like 100, maybe you'll see the correct answer on your screen, but when it gets graded, it'll be marked wrong. And any subsequent formula below that that refers to the wrong formula is also going to be indicated wrong. Okay, so let's continue. So in this panel off to the side, here's that button to check my work. So you would fill in this whole homework screen here, specifically the yellow or these green flagged cells, before you use one of your 3 check my work attempts. And eventually, when you're ready to move on, save this spreadsheet, you click on this button and you'll return to the previous screen where we're looking at. Okay, so the ones with the cells with the green flags are the ones we got to answer. There's a scratch pad area down here. If you want to do some calculations that are not going to be scored, yeah, you can use the area down here of the spreadsheet. Let's close this panel here. And we're given the instructions on how to bring back the panel, this so-called task pane. To reopen the task pane, to save your work, click on the more ellipsis icon on the far right. You don't see that right now because we don't have the menu showing. And then we pick that McGraw-Hill Excel 2 option. So let me demonstrate that here. So to bring up the menu, you just point up here in the menu area. Make sure you're on the home menu. And then here's the ellipsis at the end. And then at the bottom should be that McGraw-Hill tool. So if I click on it, open, we'll bring that panel again. To either check my work using one of your 3 attempts for this one submission, and then save and return to that previous screen to do the other problem for this homework assignment or to submit your whole homework assignment. Okay, so let's get started in this problem here. So once again, we're given the same facts, but in a table format. So you notice how the numbers appear in individual cells. So when we want to use these numbers, we have to refer to the cell address and not type in the number in the formula. Okay, so again, let's go through the summary real quick. So we're given the percent purchases during the 2 years and their costs. We're given information for ZIP over 2 or 3 years. This is the total income ZIP had earned, net income, and the total dividends declared by ZIP over the 2 years, and the value of the stocks, ZIP's stock over the 2 or 3 years. And then book value, this should be probably, they should have labeled this probably 2024 at the end of 2024. This is the book value of ZIP. On ZIP's balance sheet, assets equal liabilities plus this number right here, the net book value or equity. And ZIP owned, Akron owns 30% of ZIP. And if we had paid anything extra over the book value, that difference is attributable to an undervalued asset, this franchise agreement that not ZIP, but Akron has to amortize over the next 10 years, reducing its share of income flowing to Akron, from ZIP to Akron. At December 31st, ZIP reports a net book value. We're told the same number here. You wouldn't use this number in your formula, yeah, because it's part of words here. Yeah, we got to use this cell address. Akron attributes to any excess of its 30% share, 30% of over the fair value over the book value, fair value over book value, to that undervalued franchise agreement that we're going to amortize over 10 years. Not this 10, yeah, but this 10 here in our formula. Read instructions are important. Note that using rows 2 through 19, that's all the numbers above that we're going to use in our formula. Formulas for any item to be subtracted must return a negative value. In other words, if you're going to subtract a number, you kind of don't do that within the formula, but you should show the number in the previous formula as a negative answer. So now you're going to add that negative number really now to subtract it further down in our homework assignment. Again, we have two sets here of questions. Yeah, set A, where we're applying the equity method to account for Akron's investment in ZIP. And set B, again, we're looking at Akron's point of view, the investor, using the fair value method of accounting for its investment in ZIP. And in question 1, for both, we're looking at the income Akron has to report for its investment in ZIP. And question number 2, Akron's balance sheet specifically showing the asset investment in ZIP. And they actually are showing the procedure to calculate here the bottom number to answer the questions. Yeah. So let's start with the first one. Again, we're using the equity method, the main method we're learning here in chapter 1. What amount of income from its investment in ZIP should Akron report for 2024? So they're telling us the first thing we should do is calculate the purchase price of its 25% interest. Not the first purchase, but this is a second purchase. Again, I click on the cell where I want the answer to my formula to be, and I start the formula with the equal sign. You can see it here or here in the formula bar. And I go up and grab that 25% amount right here. This is what they paid for that 25% interest, located in cell C, column C, row 6. And I enter or click on this check button here. And if I scroll down, I can see the answer to my formula. So I didn't type in this 93,000. I typed in this formula, grabbing that contents of cell C6 and showing it as an answer here. Okay, carrying amount of the 5% interest. So that happened not in 2023, but happened back in 2022, this 5% interest. So this is what they had at the end of 2022 and the beginning of 2023. But at the end of 2023, this should have been increased to the fair value. Let's see, fair value, carrying value. So carrying value, um, 5% interest of this amount here. Okay, so um, under, well, we had only 5%, yeah. So at the end of that first year, it should have been increased up to this value here. And we're going to take only 5%. Yeah, 5% of the 5% interest, not the 25, not the 30. Yeah, we're asked for the amount that should have been reported at the end of 2023 for that 5% interest. So I start off my formula. Let me grab that 5% interest, cell B5, and we're going to multiply it. Asterisk is the multiplication symbol by the value of the stock at the end of 2023. Okay, this cell right here, cell D12, and I enter. So here's the carrying value of the 5% interest. Here's the amount we paid for the 25% interest. So total value at the end of 2023. Let me add up these two numbers here. Okay, and how shall I do it? Equal, I could click on one, plus, and click on the other, and I'll get my answer when I enter. Formula must be turned to negative. Oh, that's down here, but let me go back here and let me redo the formula. So most of you should be familiar with the equal sum function, yeah? Paren, and then you scroll over or drag over, if I can see here, I drag over the cells, the so-called range I want to add up. Then I close parentheses and I enter. Both should be okay, yeah, to get the good formula being correct. Okay. So net book value, not fair value of the stock, but net book value of Akron's investment in Zip at the end of 2023 here. You notice the bubble says here when I click on that cell, the formula has to result in a negative answer because eventually we're going to be subtracting the answer here from this number here. So instead of showing a positive number and then down here showing a minus, we're just going to add a negative number here. Okay, got to be a negative. So net book value. I start off my formula, and already to make it a negative number, I'm going to put a minus. And I'm going to grab the net book value of the whole company. That's this amount right here. Again, this is the equity on um, Zip's balance sheet. Is that the right period? Again, we're not given the year here. I presume this is the correct amount to use. There's no other book value we're given. So I'm going to put it here. But again, we don't own the whole company. We own, multiply by what percent? That's total here, yeah? Or it's already given to us here as a total, 30%. So let me look at my formula. A negative book value times our percentage should give us a negative value. Okay. And then because we paid extra over this book value, here's the amount we had, carrying value. The excess amount, the difference, should be the amount assigned to the undervalued franchise agreement asset. So let's take the difference here. And because it's already negative here, I just have to add the negative number. So equal, add the fair value plus this negative number, and this is the amount assigned to the um, franchise agreement that we're going to amortize over this remaining life. So let's grab the remaining life, equal, and it's in a separate cell all by itself here, 10 years, and I enter. Now I can divide that 22 by 10, yeah? Again, formula, divide is slash and enter. So every year for the next 10 years, we're going to reduce the income Akron's going to part from zip by this amortization. In fact, it's right over here. Yeah. So let me ask for yeah. Look, it's telling you to put a negative number here. Even though it's positive here, we got to enter it as a negative. So let me go equal minus and minusing this amount here. Okay. So our share, this should be 2024 of the equity income coming from Zip to Akron. Here is the total income for Zip, and we have 30% of that as for Akron. Yeah, so that's what goes over here. Equal the total income of Zip. I'm assuming I'm doing the correct year here, 2024. 2024 Zip income times 30%, and I enter. So now I just total up the two numbers to get Akron's income from Zip for the year 2024. Let's see if this keystroke will work. I'm in the cell where I want the answer to be for this short column. I hold down my ALT, the Alt key on my keyboard, and I tap the equal key. Yeah. Alt equal would automatically insert a formula, the sum function, yeah, and add up everything that's contiguous. So you got to make sure you don't have anything above that, yeah, within the parentheses. So I can just enter. So this is the income. This is really the answer just for question A1, the income from Zip to Akron using the equity method. Okay, so in number 2, we need to show the investment Akron has in Zip at the end of the year. The starting point is the fair value at the end of the previous year. Was that figured out already? Let's see. Let me read that again. Fair value at the end of the previous year. Fair value. Here's the total fair value. End of the previous year. So I guess we take 30% of that, yeah? So I'm clicking on the cell where I want the answer to be, equal total fair value end of 2023 times 30%, enter. Okay, so this is really like the starting point at the beginning of 2024. Now you need to enter the income for 2024. And guess what? We just did it. So let me just grab that number. And now we need to enter the dividends that Akron's going to get from Zip for the year. So I go equal and grab the dividends way up here. Dividend for 2024. But this is the whole company, and we own only 30%. So multiply by that cell. Again, don't do this. Yeah, don't type in 30%. Right? That's going to be wrong. You got to enter cell addresses. Yeah, this cell C16 and enter, and then we should. Let me think now. Uh-oh. see that when I click on this cell? Formula must return a negative value. This number is going to be subtracted. So I don't do that in the formula down here. I got to enter this as a negative number. So let me edit the formula. I can either double click here or just click up here and insert a negative minus here. Yeah. So when I enter, now it shows up as a negative. So all I got to do is take the beginning plus the income minus the dividends. In other words, just add up the three numbers. So just like I did over here, Alt equal sign. Yeah, and let me just enter there. Okay. Let's finish this off before I even use that check my work button. In B, we're doing fair value. That's really the beginning of chapter 1, yeah? So what is the amount of income that Akron has to report from ZIP? That's dividends, yeah? Now, isn't it this right here? Can I use this number, or do I have to go back to the beginning, way up here, yeah, and grab the total dividends over here? I better play it safe and grab the number way at the top, or calculate it from numbers way at the top. So equal total dividends for the whole ZIP company, and we take 30% of that. Enter. Increase in fair value. Here's the fair value at the end of the year, 2024. Here's the fair value at the beginning of 2024, which is really the ending of 2023. So if I take the difference, that's the increase in value for all of 2024 for the whole company, of which I own 30%. Yeah. So let's put that formula here. Equal. What shall we do here? Let's grab the 30%. 30%. And we're going to multiply that. And within parentheses, I'm going to put the difference of this number minus this number. I think it's important to put that asterisk in there. It doesn't automatically multiply it out if you don't have the asterisk. And close paren at the end. In other words, 30% times the difference between the ending and beginning fair market values of ZIP should equal the increase in value of ZIP for 30% interest. So I just total these two up. Yeah, Alt equal and enter. And then looks like last question here. What's on the balance sheet of Akron for the investment in ZIP? It should be the fair value of ZIP right here. But again, 30% of it. Yeah, so let's make the formula equal 30% this cell times the total value of ZIP. Okay, something went wrong here. How come I cannot see it? Something's blocking it here. Let me exit and come back into the problem. So menu, ellipsis, tools. I'm not going to use this yet. I'll come back and use it. Save and return. I want to return and go back into the problem again. Hopefully my answers will still be there because I said save. Okay, am I in the right problem? This is Akron, yeah. Okay, now I can see it, yeah? So let's go ahead and check my work. Check my work. Your answer is complete but not entirely correct. Green check marks are correct, red X's are wrong. This exclamation point says the formula is correct, but something before it, a value that's incorrect, is feeding into that correct formula. Okay, so almost everything's correct. So let's figure out what's wrong here. Again, this is everything is in A is correct. It's B, the fair value method, that's wrong. What amount of income from the investment in ZIP should Action report for 2024? The, the dividends for 2024 times 30%. You know what I'm going to do? Before I go back and try to continue working, I want to remember what I got wrong here. You know what? It's saying that even though this number is wrong, the total is correct. So how can that be? Even though this is wrong, the total is correct. Is something wrong with the question? How can I add in a bad number and get a correct total down here? I'm trying to figure out, if I get a bad number here, how come this formula being fed by this bad number is indicated correct? Now, if I have a bad formula and a wrong answer here, this down here should show this exclamation point that the formula is good, but it still shows a bad answer. So that's kind of telling me the way I figured out this formula here is not the best way to do. It's probably the correct answer, this 111,600, but there should be another way to get that number. So if I scroll up here, here it is, yeah? The way I got it was to redo the calculation of multiplying 30% times that book value at the beginning of 2024, end of 2023. Let me see if I can just grab this number here. You know, before I can start working, I have to continue working here and I'll lose track of what's correct or not. So what I'm going to do, and what you should do, is grab the screen, copy the whole screen. So I'm using my snipping tool here. Let's see. See this right here? New. And I'll drag over what I got wrong so I can remember now not to change anything that was correct. Yeah. So I'll look at this as a reference, yeah, to make a change here and here. Let me put this off on a separate screen. And let's continue going to make changes again. And I'm going to close. You notice I use one of my 3 attempts, yeah, for this one submission. So I'll come back and check again. And I'll return. No, wait, I don't want that. I just want to close this window here. Okay, so what was wrong? It's this number here, yeah? It's really, I believe, the correct value because this number was correct. Just a wrong formula to get it, or another formula. I'm going to grab the same number up here. So let's see. I'm going to delete that old formula. Equal, and this number here, and enter. Again, the same number, but a different formula that they probably now are going to mark as correct. And this one here, yeah, this negative number, dividend income? No. This one here, yeah. Notice it's the same, but this one is negative, and this should be positive. But again, the way I calculated was by multiplying 30% times the total dividend. Let's just grab this number and turn it into positive down here and see what happens. So start off the formula and reverse the negative by making another negative, yeah? A negative is now a positive, so I enter. Same answer as before, but again, probably this formula is what they want to look for as a correct answer. So let me bring back my check my work. Notice I use check my work after finishing this whole screen, yeah, filling up the whole screen of answers. So menu, ellipsis, scroll to the bottom, tools, check my work. Yay, right here it says everything is correct. So, it's kind of mechanical in terms of what they say is correct or not because there's more than one way of getting that number. So probably a little bit more efficient the way it did it by using a previous answer, yeah? Can I get a wrong answer? Let me demonstrate a wrong answer. Continue working and close this window. So let's say you make a mistake like here, and I type in not a formula, but 93,000. Looks correct, probably give you the correct answer down here, but watch what happens when I check my work. Looks like I have one left here, yeah? Wrong. You must use a formula. But look, down here is correct. Yeah? This is a good formula and a good numerical answer. This is a good number but bad formula. I wanted to demonstrate this one here. Let's say I type in $1 here, yeah? The formula down here is still good, but the answer is going to be wrong. And that's what you would see here, yeah? Anything dependent upon a wrong value in the formula further down would show this. So you don't change the formula when you see an exclamation point. You got to change the formula when you see this, like right here, because there's no formula. What else? Let me go back to the beginning of the assignment. Here, save and return. So I've just did, oh, it's wrong. Yeah, I don't care. I've just did this one problem, this number 2 problem. So I should go back and do the number 1 problem. And let me just demonstrate when I open up the spreadsheet, because this is another problem. Same homework assignment, but another problem. I should have 3 check my work attempts for this number 1 problem, as you can see here, yeah? So again, fill in that yellow boxes with the green flags. I think this should be a little bit easier for you to figure out. Gross profit percentage. In the examples, I think in our textbook, we were given this to figure out numbers back here. But now we're given these numbers to figure out the gross profit percentage. That's gross profit divided by sales, yeah? Gross profit percentage. Let me try submitting the homework. I should only do it after completing both problems, yeah? But let me go ahead and submit it and see what it looks like. Here's my submit button here. I only did problem 2 of problems 1 and 2. Again, submit only after doing all the problems. You have 3 chances to click this button here. It's telling me here I didn't do number 1. Something's not complete. I'm going to submit it anyway. And here's your chance to, again, almost like check my work, to look at the problem. Not to use your next submission, but to review just what you submitted. And look, 0 for this problem because I didn't do anything. Let's go ahead and take a look at problem number 2 and go into, look at that, not perfect because I had that first formula incorrect, yeah? But let's go ahead and take a look at it. by going into the spreadsheet. Hover over the red tab in the upper right corner of the cell to see the formula. If displayed, the red text indicates no response was expected in the cell. Okay, no, we should be entering stuff in every cell. So let's take a look at my bad formula. Here it is, yeah? And it shows the formulas I did enter correctly, but if I click on this, can I use this button here? I don't know if you guys will have this until the very end. If you do, I guess you're lucky because you can look at any formula that should be entered here. But let's see what had happened. Show correct answer. Hover over the red tab and you'll see the formula again here. Red tab. It's not showing me. Oh, yeah, this is the correct formula. Remember, I typed in the number that was wrong, yeah? The correct formula is grabbing cell C6 right here, not typing in 93,000. So I don't know if you're going to have that button or not. Maybe that's an instructive view, but use it if you see it. Now, for me to go back and do problem number one, here I got to go back to the assignment, go back to problem one. Can I do that from here? I don't think this is anything here, explanation. There's nothing. Let's take a look at problem one. And if I go into it, I think I can get started now on this problem. Remember, I've already used one of my 3 submission attempts. Oh, this is still being graded here. Okay, oh, here it is, return to assignment. Am I back in my assignment? Let's try it again. Click on this one. Okay, now I can, no. I need to get back into the regular assignment here. So let me exit and let me go back here from the beginning. Not yet started. This should be down to 2 for you. I'm not sure why I'm showing 3. Yeah, it looks like it's reset everything for me. But when you go back into your assignment, you should be in number 2 if you've already used up one of your 3 attempts. So let me stop here. You know, there are some possible mistakes in grading the homework. And try to see if you can work it out. If not, if you still have it marked wrong and you believe you're correct, contact me after the due date and I'll take a look at it and adjust it if it needs to be adjusted, your score, yeah? Okay, thanks for watching.